Okay, so this is the common session, MM and SD. The reason is there are some enterprise structure components, objects, which are common in both, for example, plant, for example, storage location. Okay, so there will be few sessions which will be having common between MM and SD. Once we are done with the common sessions, then we will bifurcate and then again we will go to the MM related processes and SD related processes. So the enterprise structure plus the master data part, which is material master and customer vendor master data. This all we will be doing together. Once that is done, once we go through the processes, sales processes and purchasing processes, we will get bifurcated once again. Okay. So in our last session, what we discussed is we discussed the high level enterprise structure where we understood. Do you remember what are the different components in the enterprise structure? What are the first component? Client, right? Client is the topmost. After the client,
Operating concern.
operating concern. If we are using COPA module,
Copper model.
operating
Yes.
come if
Then,
COPA is
hmm,
used.
yes. Controlling area.
Controlling area, which is required from the internal reporting purpose.
Hmm.
Internal reporting means those reports which are carried out by the business for internal control. For example, uh, background noise, Nagesh. Yeah, sorry. So for internal reporting purpose means the reports which you generate for internal purpose. For example, at the legal entity level, at the company code level, if you are generating the profit and loss, balance sheet, all the financial reports, those are at the legal entity level, which you need to report to the tax authorities, to the auditors, to the Companies Act, right? As per the different accounting principles, IFRS, you need to prepare those reports. Internally means the reports which are internal to your organization. For example, you want to know which product has given you more profit. Okay, if you have multiple products, let's assume in this example, what we are going to do today is we are considering Reliance Chemicals as our customer. Now, within Reliance Chemicals, let's say they have different plants. Okay, they have the plant in Mumbai, they have the plant in Pune, Bangalore, Hyderabad, and they have different products. For example, they are dealing in fertilizers, insecticides, pesticides. Right, so these are the different products which they are which they are manufacturing, and they want to do the report based on these products or based on the locations. So those location-wise, product-wise information is only for the internal control. That is the reason we normally create a controlling area for internal purpose. Okay, what comes after controlling area?
Company code.
Company code. Why is company code required?
It's the highest.
This is for external mandatory
reporting or IFRS.
right. So internal reporting is optional, which has to be done by your business, up to you whether you want to do it or not. But when it comes to the external reporting, this is mandatory. You need to submit your financial statements every month, every quarter, every year, and that is the reason you understand that most of the finance related end users, they will always say that I'm busy with the month end reporting, quarter end reporting, year end reporting. That is the reason, because those are the mandatory reports need to be submitted as per the timeline. Okay, so that is the company code. And just remember, company code equal to legal entity. Okay, legal entity means the companies which are registered. For example, Reliance Chemicals is a legal entity which is registered according to the Companies Act, and we'll be creating Reliance Chemical as a company code in the system. Can I go ahead without company code? If let's assume I want to use only MM and SD module, is it okay if I don't create a company code? Because that is a finance object.
No, we need to have company first.
Company code is mandatory, right? Without company code, you will not be able to do anything in purchasing and sales also. The company code is a minimum requirement. That is the reason whenever you are working on the project, you first need to check the company code related setup with the finance, and then only you can start working on Even the configuration when you are doing, whenever you are creating the plants, purchasing organizations, sales organizations, everything has to be assigned to the company code so that they can start working, right? So the company code is mandatory. Even for MM and SD, without company code, you cannot start any of your transactions. What comes after company code?
Plant.
Plants, right? So plants are nothing but physical locations. Plants can be the storing location. Storing location means wherever you are just, it is kind of a warehouse. It can be the manufacturing location where you are manufacturing something. It can be the sales location from where you are doing the sales, or even it can be the just the office where your team is sitting, right? So plant has no kind of definition that only the manufacturing facility can be created as a plant. Plant can be anything which is a separate location within your company, right? So normally, if I think from the manufacturing point of view, plant is nothing but my manufacturing location. If I think from the purchasing point of view or inventory point of view, plant is nothing but my location where the material will be stored. If I think from the sales point of view, plant is nothing but the channel through which I'll be doing my sale, right? And if I think from the just coming out of logistics, if I think from the normal point of view, any location, any physical office where the team is sitting, even that can be considered as a plant. Is it necessary to create a plant?
Yes, it is.
If you want to use MM and SD, then definitely it is mandatory. If you are implementing SAP only for the finance point of view, you are not doing anything in MM, you are not doing anything in SD, then completely fine, you can ignore the plant. But if you are using MM and SD, you cannot survive without the plant. So plant is one of the very important functionality within MM, SD, PP, PM. There are a lot of modules. That is the reason this is normally done at the cross application level. Okay, it is not only done at the sales or purchase level, it is done at the cross application level.
So it's a relative question, correct? If this question asked to FI guy, they will say no, it's not mandatory. And if it's asked to MNSD, they'll say yeah, it's mandatory.
No, it has to be answered carefully. So if they are asking plant is mandatory, so definitely you can just tell whether it is a FI question or SD question, you have to just tell if we are using MM and SD module, then definitely plant is mandatory because we'll not be able to do anything without plant. So even FI guys are also answering.
Mhm.
Even if asked, he will be doing the same thing because ultimately, if MM and SD is being used, then the plant is mandatory.
Correct.
Okay, what comes under plant?
Purchase organization, sales organizations.
But it's under company code, na? Purchase org and sales org.
Uh, what about the storage locations?
Storage location is under plant, correct?
Right. Within the plant, you will be having different storage locations. Okay, so one plant may have multiple storage locations. And then the other objects. So this is a end-to-end, like you can say the parent-child relationship. So client may have multiple operating concern. One operating concern may have multiple controlling areas. One controlling area may have multiple company codes. One company code may have multiple plants, and one plant may have multiple storage locations. After this, then comes this purchasing org and sales org. So they are not directly one to one or one to n. We have to understand how exactly the purchasing organization would be associated with company, how the sales org will be associated to the company, what kind of relations are there. They will not follow the common relation that we have discussed here. So purchasing org and sales org we need to discuss separately. So if I'm talking about MM, see, maybe I'll divide this. This is at the client level. Okay, this is for CO. These are the CO objects. This is CO module. In CO module, we create operating concern and controlling area. This will come in FI module. I create the company codes. Okay, and in addition to company codes, normally business area. I'll talk what is business area. So business area is created in FI. After this, cross application, which means it is required in many different modules, not only a particular module, which is nothing but plant, and even the storage locations. So plant and storage locations, or maybe I will keep the storage location in MM because it is used for the storage. So MM will have the storage location, MM will have the purchasing org, and MM will have the purchasing group. Okay, same way when it comes to SD, SD will have the sales org, sales organization. It will have the distribution channel. It will have the division, sales office, and sales group. Okay, so these are the important organizational elements within logistics. So if I want to understand from the logistics point of view, I need to understand what is a plant. I need to understand what is a storage location. I need to understand the purchasing organization, purchasing group, sales organization, distribution channel, division, sales office, and sales group. And that is exactly what we are going to discuss in detail. We will also try to set up all these things in the system from the configuration point of view so that we can at least in tomorrow or maybe in the next week session, we can at least start with the master data, material master data, business partner master data along with their own configurations. Okay, so enterprise structure related things we will try to set up today. Whatever possible, whatever we are left with, we will try to do it tomorrow. Okay, so see, this will be taken care by your CO module. We don't need to touch this. Okay, whenever it is done, I will show you how the controlling area has been set up in FI. Within FI, this company code and business area will be taken care by FI, which we have already completed in our FI session today. So I will give you the overview of what exactly we have done from FI. Even in your project, this responsibility has to be taken care by FI itself. And what I'll also do, I will share today's video, which I have conducted with FI, with you also, because when you are practicing, you may not need to go in detail of what is company code and a lot of other things, but at least from the configuration point of view, you should understand how to set up the company code. Okay, it is very straightforward. There are only few fields. I'll explain you now also. But still, if you want to go through the complete video, I'll be sharing it with you so that you can understand from the finance point of view what is the role of company code and business area. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll start from here, then we will go one by one. So company code, as we understood, it is a legal entity. I will show you, we already set up this in our finance system today. So all the configurations, again, just confirming, all the configurations that you do in SAP, those are done using transaction SPRO. Okay, SPRO is a single transaction where all the customizing, all the configurations would be done by the functional consultant. Whatever settings you do in SPRO, based on this settings itself, the end users are able to do the transactions in SAP Easy Access. So this SAP Easy Access is for end users who are actually going to do the transactions. Within this SAP Easy Access, these are the different places from where the transactions would be performed. So if it is a FI user, he will be using this accounting submodule. If he is a MM, SD, manufacturing or some other end user, he will be using this logistics. Within logistics, you can see each and every module is available. So if I want to do anything related to sales, I'll go to the sales and distribution. If I have to do anything related to MM, I will go to materials management. Right. So based on what exactly I want to achieve, I will go to that particular folder as an end user. As a consultant in the taste system, fine, we can use this because we want to understand how the end user transaction works. But when it comes to the production system, we as a consultants are not at all involved in this end user activity. We are only involved in making sure in the development system we have done the setup, we have done the configuration using this SPRO, and then that configuration is being used by the end users. Okay, so how to set up the new company code?